Today's topic is about RAID and LVM. Now, first we will do RAID. Now, RAID means what? Redundant Array of Interconnect Devices. Now, what it do here and why we use RAID? We use RAID for redundancy and high availability. High availability, that means we wanted to have a device like we are having a server in that server we are having a application running, and we want that application to run every time, and we can't afford the application is stopped for some time. Now the application needs a data. It needs a data to run the application, and the data is stored in a disk. Now if the disk corrupted, it's a hardware and it can corrupt, you can face a problem here. So if it is corrupted, then what happened? You can lose the data, and when you lose the data, the application will also stop, and that is what you don't want. So you want the high availability. You want high availability so that your application will run every time, and for the day for the application, the data will available every time. So this redundancy, it is what we use this RAID is for, basically it is for high availability. This is basically for high availability. That means whatever happens, you must get the data. High availability, and also we can say redundancy. Now redundancy, why we say redundancy? Because it is based on redundancy feature. That means what? One disk can corrupt. So what we do? We use multiple disks. We use array of multiple disks. That is, it is called array. So we use array of multiple disks and connect together. This is for high availability and redundancy. So the data must be available to users and applications. Now red means what? And that means if you have a data in a single disk, then we have a chance of losing the data. We have we can say high chance, or we can say very much possibility. We have that we have chances to lose the data if that single disk is corrupted. If that single disk is corrupted. So what we do here in RAID? So in RAID, what we do? In RAID, we connect array of multiple disks together. So we connect multiple disks together and use them as a single disk. Now what happened? We use them as a single disk. So if one disk goes down, then again we don't lose the data because we get the data from the other disk of the array. So this red help us to make sure that the data will always available to the user in the application. Now for configuring the red, we have two options. First, for configuring the red, we need a controller. Controller, that means who controls those disks, like how the data will store on those disks, that will be decided by the controller. Now controller, we have two types. We have two types of red controllers. So we have two types of red controller. Now those two types is what? First we can say hardware controller. Hardware controller. Now hardware controller means what? It is inbuilt, or it comes with the sometime in the servers. It is inbuilt in the servers, inbuilt in most server machines motherboard, or we can say main board. Main board, or we can say like okay, motherboard. Let me say this motherboard. So it is inbuilt in the servers machines motherboard. Normal desktop machine, you don't get this hardware controller. You will always get it in the motherboard of the server machines. So whenever you get the server machine, you will get the option to manage the red. Apart from the software side, you can manage it hardware side. Now why we call it hardware controller? Because it is having its own hardware IC, or we can say on own hardware component for managing the red, and that is inbuilt into the motherboard. So it is a hardware or we can say motherboard, inbuilt into motherboard as a hardware component. So it's a hardware component, so we don't have to, just like you have a video controller, you have some audio controller, you have a network controller in your hardware machine, in your motherboard, you have a uh, graphic processor. So same as this one is also red controller, and this is a hardware component in the server machines. Now if you have a hardware controller, it works very fast apart from the software controller. Now the other controller is what? This is software controller. It is called software. We say it is software controller. Now software controller is like a software. So it is a software application in our operating system. So it is in operating system as a software. So the managing of the software controller is by the operating system. That means managing managing software controller, or managing the and that means management of software controller is done by OS. Now, what is the difference between these two? Very simple. One is hardware and the other one is software controller. The hardware controller is inbuilt into the motherboard of the server machines mostly as a hardware component. So it works like a hardware. It is a separate hardware for the RAID. So it is a separate hardware. That means it is not related to our normal processor or normal program of the server. And this software controller is what? It is like a software. We use it. It works like a software in a operating works like a software in a operating system. So managing of the software controller is done by the operating system itself. And operating system itself, that means our single processor, the processor who is doing the all job of the server, like doing the processor of server, like doing the processor of DNS, DHCP, whatever applications we are running on the server. It is managing all those applications, and also it is managing the RAID. In hardware controller, what happens? The management of RAID is separate than the other management of our server machine. So whatever application is server handling, it is handled by the server processor and all that, and the RAID is managed by the separate controller. It is like, we can assume, like we add graphic card in our computer. Suppose we want to play the game, high graphic game, so our processor can also play that. So some of the game our processor can also play, but it works very slow. Sometimes what, some games like very lag or something, because our processor is also handling the game and also handling the processing of the graphics. So both job, if our single processor do, then sometime it gets slow, or sometime it get what, it get lags, or mostly it does not run. Mostly it does not run. So most of the games directly say that we need a graphic cards, we don't work on normally. So we connect, we add the additional graphic card in our system, so that what happen, that additional graphic cards controls the graphics, and the processing task will done by the our normal processor. So our machine works fast, our game works fast, and all that. Now, if you are having a software controller, that means you're using it as a software in our operating system, and that comes after installing the operating system. The hardware controller, without installing the operating system, before installing the operating system, you will configure the RAID, and that on the RAID partitions you will install the operating system. Now software controller means after installing the operating system, so in this operating system you will get what, the application for RAID, and then you can manage the RAID. Now in this case, the management of RAID will be handled by the operating system, and operating system is handled by your single processor. It is like you're playing a game with a single processor without graphic card. So just like the game will hang, same, your RAID will work very slow. So in both cases, hardware controller works fast and software controller works slow. Now we don't have the server machine, so we don't have a inbuilt hardware controller. So what we are going to configure in our RHEL, we will configure this software controller. We can configure this at the time of installation also. like if the we were installing the system, there was a time it was asking like which partition type you want. You want LVM, you want RAID, or you want standard partition. So on that time you can select RAID and you can create a RAID partition, you can configure RAID, and in that RAID partition you will install your operating system. But still it will remain software controller, because still it will manage by your operating system. Hardware RAID controller comes with your BIOS. So when you start your server, at the time of starting the server, you will go to the BIOS setting and you will change. You will see your server will say that press that key to manage your RAID. And mostly it is managed like a BIOS you manage. Now the next thing, now in this case we are going to manage what? Software RAID, because we don't have a server RAID here, hardware RAID here. Now the next thing is what? RAID has different levels. So in RAID we have different levels. Now what levels we have? Different levels. We have levels from 0 to we have 6, 0 to 6. Then we have 10 also. Now 10 means what? 0 and 1. It is not like 10. It is 10 means 1 plus 0. It is like that. So we have these different levels of RAID. Now those different levels of RAID works differently. In those levels, or we can say levels of RAID. Now the first level we have is level 0. The first level we have is level 0, or we can say RAID 0. Now this RAID level 0, it is called strip volume. This level is called strip volume. It called strip volume. Now in this level, what happened? Data will be stripped. Data will be stripped in multiple disks. So in this level, what happened? Data will be stripped in multiple level. That means like this. This is RAID level 0, and it is what? It is doing what? Stripping. So if you are having a 2 disk, for example, you have 2 disks. This is our disk 1 and this is our disk 2. This is like disk 1 and this is disk 2. Now what? When you enter the data into this RAID 0, that means you are entering the data here in this RAID 0. For example, your data is what? A1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what it will do? It will write the data by stripping the data. Like this is 2 disk. So what it will do? First it will write A1 here in this disk 1. then the second it will write here A2, then A3 in this disk, then A4 in this disk, then A5 in this disk, then A6 in this disk, then like 7 and 8. So it stripping. Now stripping means what? The data will stripped into two disk or multiple disks. Now what is the benefit of this stripping? The benefit is what? You will get the performance. You will get the performance of reading and writing the data because your data is stripping into two multiple disks. So what happened? Two or multiple disks, it will write quickly, and when you try to read the data, it will read quickly. So it will give you a performance. But in RAID level 0, you will not get the redundancy. It is basically not for redundancy. Now what the meaning of redundancy? That means we are using these two disks and we are combining these two disks to create a single partition actually. So we are creating this single partition and we are storing the data into this single partition. We are not storing data into directly these two disks, and the RAID is managing it, and RAID is managing the stripping. So RAID is doing what? It is doing this stripping to store the data into these two disks. We will see this partition and we will use this partition only. We don't use this disk directly. Now what happened? It gives you the performance, like when you write the data into this partition, it will write quickly. When you read the data, you will read quickly. But the problem is what? It is not giving you redundancy. Now the meaning of redundancy means if you lose one of the disk, for example, I lose this disk got corrupt. Now the problem is what? Your half of the data in that disk, and if you lose the disk, you lose the data, and it was not for redundant. Like you lose the disk, you lose the data, no matter you have one disk, two disk, three disk, or four disk, or five disk. So you lose one disk, you lose data, and that is why it is not redundant. So why we use it? It is for the performance, and it is give you the combined space. Like for example, you are having this as a 100 GB of this hard disk, and this hard disk you are having 100 GB. So you will get the combined space in this partition, this RAID partition. You will get 200 MB, a 200 GB. So you will get what? The combined space of two disks, and also you will get the performance, but not redundancy. So it will do strip the data into multiple disks. Now it will give the performance of reading the data, reading and writing the data, or we can say it gives you the high performance of reading and writing. But it is not redundant. It is not redundant. That means if you lose any of the disk or any one of the disk, you lose the data. So you lose the whole data actually, because it is stripped and the half of the data is in another disk. So you may lose the whole data. Now in this level, what we have here is now in this level it supports minimum two disks, minimum two disks to maximum 32 disks. So it supports minimum 2 disks to maximum 32 disks. Now remember, minimum 2 disks to maximum 32 disks to create single RAID partition. That means by using two or more disks, you create single RAID partition, and then you can use that RAID partition. And like you can create multiple RAID partitions. Like you use 3 disks to create one RAID partition, then you use another 3 disks to create another RAID partition, then you use another 3 disks to create another RAID partition. So you can create whatever, how many numbers of RAID partition you want, but for one RAID partition you can use 2 to 32 disks. Then in Linux it will be named as a with the name of Dave MD0. Now under the Dave we know all the partitions created under the Dave. Normally SD, SD, SDA, SDB, RAID partition names will always be like MD. MD0 means it's a first partition. If you create another RAID partition, then it will be like MD1, MD2, MD3. MD0 is your first partition. So this is what your RAID partition. So this is your RAID 0 partition. Now the next level for the RAID partition is RAID level 1. Now the next level is RAID level 1. Now this RAID level 1, this RAID level 1 is called, this one is called mirror volume. This one is called mirror volume. Now mirror volume means what? We know what is the meaning of mirror. Now mirror means what? It do copy, or we can say copy mirror, or I can say like this, it copy same data in two different disks. So it do what? we do copy same data into two disks. Now I'm saying two disks, I'm not saying multiple disks, because that is the limit of this mirror volume, this red level 1. Now this will do what? It will give full redundancy. It will give full redundancy. It will give full redundancy. That means if we lose any disk, any one disk from that two disk, we can still get the data. That means we will not lose the data if we lose any of the disk from that two disks. So if we lose any of the disk, still we get the data, because it do what? It create the same copy of the data into two disks. Two disks, it will create the same data, same mirror data. So if any disk I lose, I will still get the data. But what we lose is what? The performance. It will not give us the performance like the strip volume. That means, but we will not get, we will still get the performance, but we will not get the performance like, we will not get the performance we will not get the performance for reading and writing like strip volume. So as compared to the strip volume, we will not get the performance like that. We will get the less performance, we will get a little less performance, but we will get the full redundancy. If we lose any of the disk, we will get the data. We will not lose the data. But it will not give a performance like a strip volume. So how it copies the data? Very simple. So this is your two disks, suppose in red volume 1. So when we add the data, now remember, combining these two disks, we get what? One single red level 1 disk. Now when we store data into this disk, this red volume, this red partition, so it will store the data into two disks based on the controller level. Now what it do here in level 1, it will mirror the data. So what it do here, suppose I am putting the data 1 2 3 4. So what it do here, as you can see here, it put 1 here, and then other disk it will do the copy. In the A2 it will copy into other disk. It is actually creating the mirror image of your data into one disk to other disk. So it is creating the mirror image. That is why it is called mirror volume. Now if I lose any of the disk, suppose I lose this disk. Now what happened if I lose this disk? I am having the same data in the other disk. I'm having a same data in the other disk. No problem if I lose one disk. But there is one more thing. One more thing is that, like, if we do this level 1, what we get? We get the we will not get the performance like strip volume, but we get the redundancy. And one more thing we lose is half of the space. In strip volume we are getting the total space, like if this disk is 100 MB, 100 GB, if this disk is 100 GB and if this disk is 100 GB, so in strip volume we are getting the combined space, but in here in RAID level 1 what we will get, we will lose the half of the space and total we will get only 100 GB. So we will lose the half of the space. Now why? Because the half of the space is going for the mirroring, but it is giving you the full redundancy. So it gives us the full redundancy, but the only problem we have is that we lose a half of the data. Now if you want to store the data here in this RAID level 1, then you will need a lots of space. That means suppose I have a database and I want to store it in the RAID level 1 because the database is important for me. So I need a lots of space for it. That means for the 10 TB storage disk, for suppose I want to store 10 TB data, then I need 20 TB of the disk. It is costly also. So mostly it is used, this RAID level 1 mostly used for the operating system, so that operating system will always run, so the other things you can manage. Now for the data, mostly we use another level. So in RAID level 1 you can use only 2 disk, minimum or maximum only 2 disk it supports, because it creates the mirror image from one disk to other disk. You will lose the half of the data. That means one is, if it is 100 GB and another one is 100 GB, you will not get total 200, you will get only 100 GB. You will lose half of the data for mirroring. So it is not useful, or it is not cost effective for the data. So if you want to store a data, then it is not a cost effective thing because it loses the half of the data. So for the data storing, we will go for the next level or other level. So we have other level. Now other level means what? After level 1, you will have level 2, level 3, level 4. Now those levels are rarely used actually. Mostly nobody uses those levels, are mostly they are same. Mostly those levels are same, but now nobody uses those levels normally, because rarely we use those levels. So the level which we use after 1 most commonly is level 5, and it is also called RAID 5. So the level which we use after 1 is RAID level 5, or we call it RAID 5. Now this RAID 5, this level 5 is also called, it is, we can say it is what, strip volume. It is also a strip volume, but with parity bit, with parity bit. So it is a strip volume basically, but it is with the parity bit. Now that means what? It do stripping. That means it will do what? It will stripped, or it do strip the data. It do strip the data. Like strip the data, that means what? Like level 0, it will strip the data from multiple disks. That means if you store any data, then it will be stripped into multiple disks. Now it will strip the data in multiple disks, and also it stores parity bit. Parity bit is for redundancy. Parity bit for redundancy. That means what? Now that means if you are having this RAID 5 configured. Now suppose we have configured on these multiple disks. On these multiple disks, then what it do? We get the RAID partition here. Now when we store the data into the partition which is having a RAID level 5, now what it will do here? When we store data into this RAID partition, it will do what? It will strip the data. Stripping the data, that means if you can see here, A1 is written in this first disk, then A2 here, then A3 is here, and in the fourth disk it is writing the parity, A parity. Then in this B disk, B1, B2, and here it is writing the parity for it, and then B4. For C1, C parity, C3, C4, then D parity, D1, D2. Like it is doing what? It is writing a parity and it is writing it on all the disks. Or we can say, like, for example, very simple, if I can understand, if I can explain it in a simple way, what it do actually, it stores the parity in a, if I can a simple way, like it uses the two disk for stripping and the one disk for parity. Now why I'm saying like this? So let's say we are using only 3 disks. So 2 disk it will use for parity and the 1 disk it will use for 2 disk it will do data stripping and 1 disk it will do use to parity. Now with the data stripping you will get what? You will get the performance for the reading writing, and also you will get the combined space. That means you will get the combined space. That means suppose if it is 100 GB, this one is also 100 GB, this one is also 100 GB, this one is also 100 GB. Now you will get what? You will get the combined space also with the parity. That means you will get, suppose you will get 200 out of this 300, or even you can get 300 out of this 400 GB. That means you are getting the maximum space also. Now half of the space for the one disk, it is used for the parity. So you will lose only the space of the one disk for parity. The other space, one disk only for the parity, and the whole space you will get for your data. So you will get the data, you will get the more space for the data, and also you will get the parity. Now parity will give you what? It will give you the redundancy. Redundancy means it will give you the redundancy to uh, recover the data. In case of any disk lost, you can recover the data by using the parity bit. Now let me give you an example in a simple way. Now for example, we are having these 3 disks. One, two, and three. So when we store the data, it will do what? It will do stripping in these two disks. It is not like that. I am giving you the example. And the third disk, it is used for the parity. So you will get the full space. Like if this is 1 TB, 1 TB, 1 TB, so you will get the combined space 2 TB. You will lose only 1 TB for your parity. So because it is doing the stripping here, you will get what? You will get the performance for reading and writing. You will get the combined space of these two disks, and then with this parity you will get the redundancy. That means if any of the disk goes down, like for example this first disk goes down, but still you can get the data from these two disks. So you will get the data from these two disks. That means if you add the new disk, because this disk is corrupted, so when you add the new disk, this data which is available, which was written in this disk which is corrupted, it will be available in this disk by using these two disks. So you will not lose the data from this lost disk. So you will get the redundancy because of this parity bit. Now it is not like a magic it is doing. It is not storing the data of two disks into one disk for a backup. You can assume it like data of one disk, two disks. That means 2 TB of the data is storing it in the one disk of 1 TB. It is not possible. It is only doing what? It is storing only the parity bit. We can assume it like this. For example, I'm giving you the example of this in binary. In binary, that means, for example, in this disk, remember all the data are like what? Binaries. In this disk, suppose it stores 1, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0, and 1. Now in this disk, it stores the data by stripping 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, and 0. Now for stripping in this disk, what it do? It actually stores the data like using the binary expression. Using the binary expression, we can say it is a OR or XOR methods. Those are the binary expression. So what it do? It stores like 1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0. Wait a minute. It is actually, if you have 1, 0, it will go for 1. 0, 1 is also 1. Then 1, 1 will go for 0, and 1, 0 again it will go for 1. 0, 1 is also 1, and 0, 0 will remain 0, and 1, 0 is also 1. So this is what it is written in this priority bit. Now if you lose any of the data, like if you lose this disk, now we don't have this disk. Now what we do? We add this disk for recovery. If you lose any disk here, your data will be still available. Remember, your disk, like your machine, your computer will still work, your data will still available, only it will say your disk, your RAID is on risk. That means in this time, if you lose one more disk, then you will definitely lose the data. So the RAID is on risk, but you still get the data. It is not like mirror. If you lose one disk, you lose the data, and strip, you lose one disk, you lose the data. It is not like that. You will still get the data, but your RAID is on risk. So you have to save it by adding the other disk. So when you add the other disk, let's say it is a recovery disk. So what it do here, it will calculate the data of the lost disk by using the parity again. That means we lose the data of this disk. Now it will try to get the data which was there in this disk. Now how it will get? It will get by using the same formula, same expression. So 0 1 is 1, 0 0 is 0, 1 1 is 0, 0 1 is 1, 1 1 0, 1 0 is also 0, 1 1 is 0, and 0 1 is also 1. Now if you compare this data and the data which we lost in the disk, it is same. So it is doing what? It is getting the data by using the binary expression. So same it do here. Now the thing is this, that it is not storing the parity bit in a single disk. So it is not storing the parity bit in a single disk. It is, I have only done this to give you the example, to understand you, to explain you. But it really, in reality, it is not storing the parity bit in a single disk. Actually, it is storing the parity in all the three disks. In this disk also, in this disk also, in this disk also, and also in the disk. But it always stores the parity compared to the size of one disk. That means if your one disk size is 1 TB, then it will use 1 TB from all these disks to store the parity. So it will use the one disk space, always one disk space for the parity. That is what, if all your disks are 1 TB, then it will use 1 TB for parity. So you always lose the space of 1 TB for your parity. One disk, the space of one disk for your parity. And it is what it is doing here. So it is not storing the parity in a single disk. So it is not storing the parity in the single disk. It is actually storing the parity in all these four disks, which is used in a RAID 5 volume. So it is using the parity in this. You can see here it is storing the parity, here it is storing the parity, here it is storing the parity, and here also it is storing the parity. But totally it is using the size of single disk. You can see in a disk we have four blocks here, like 1 2 3 4. Like our disk size is of 4 blocks here, so it is using the 4 blocks from all the four disks, 1 2 3 4. So it is using the space of one disk. So if this four disks totally we get 4 TB, so we lose 1 TB out of that 4 TB for the parity bit. And doing this is storing the parity in all the four disks. This is what we use, this is why we use RAID level 5. RAID level 4 will also do the same thing. It will also use the parity with strip, but it does not do that. It do what? It uses the blocks. It uses the it stores the block. It is stored not here it will store as a block, and there it is stored as a file. And in RAID level 2 it stores in a single disk. The parity, the whole parity will store in the single disk in RAID level 2 and 3. So that is the different, but both the all RAID level 2 3 and 4 are same. They do what? They do use parity with strip, but some of them uses in a single disk with blocks, and some of them uses in RAID level 4 and 5 uses in separate disk in all the disks. So this RAID level 5 do what? It is strip the volume in multiple disk, and also it is stores the parity fit for redundancy, and we have seen how it get the redundancy. Then in disk, now in this, if you lose in this, first we will get in this, what we will get? We will get the high performance of reading and writing. So we will get the performance of reading and writing because of stripping, and also we will get redundancy because of parity. So we will get the redundancy also, and we will get the performance also. Now we also get the combined space of data. We get combined space of the data, like for example, if we use 3 disks of 1 TB, then what? Then we get we get 2 TB. We get 2 TB for data and 1 TB for parity. So this one is giving you the redundancy also, and it is giving you the maximum data to use also, cost effective for using. Now it supports minimum 3. Remember, it supports minimum 3, and maximum we can go up to 32 for one partition. Minimum 3 because at least 2 disks it needs for parity, and at least 1 disk it needs for the redundancy. So 2 disk for the stripping and 1 disk is for the parity redundancy. Now we have actually the next level also, which is called red level 6. Now that red level 6 is actually the same as this one. That one is also stripping with the parity, but it is using the dual parity in red level 5. It used dual parity. That means in this case, if suppose you are using minimum 3 disks, and in that 3 disk you can afford 1 disk failure. If you lose 1 disk, you can still afford, you can still get the data. As I said, your red will be on risk, but still you will get the data. But if you lose more than to 1 disk, that means from 3 out of 3, if you lose 2, maybe in after 4 out of 4 disk, if you lose 2 disk, you will lose the data. And in that case, you can use the red level 6 to use the dual parity. In the dual parity scene, you can afford to lose 2 disks, and in that case the minimum disk is what, minimum supported disk is 5 there. You cannot configure it in minimum then. So if you using red level 5, you have to configure it in minimum 5 disk. So normally people configure this red level 5, red level 6, you need 5 minimum disk. So mostly people configure red level 5, and this is what the red level. So this is red level 5. Now we know what these red levels are and what are they, how they work. Now we can see how we can configure it in our Linux system. So now we will see how we can configure red in our Linux system. Now first I will tell you the process. The process for configuring and using the red in our Linux system. So first you have to do what? First we will do create the required partitions. We will create the required partitions. Now I am saying required partitions because it depends on the level and it depends on your requirement. Now if you are having a, if you want to create a strip volume, then you know minimum 2 and maximum 32 it supports. So it depends on you, like how much partitions you need. Now when I say partitions, that means what? If you are having a different disk, remember configuring the red in a single disk is no use. If you're configuring the red in a single disk, that means you're not doing anything. Why you're doing it? Because you're doing it for the redundancy and you cannot do it in one disk. If you configure it in the single disk, what happen? You will lose all the data. When you lose the disk, you will lose all the data. So you will do configure it in multiple different disks. That means you connect 2 disks, 4 disks, 3 disks, and then you combine those disks and create the RAID. So for creating that, first if you want to use the disk, then you have to create the partition in that disk. So what actually the first I will show you, add, I will say add the required number of hard disks. So first add the required numbers of hard disks which you want. Now we don't have a hardware controller, so we are going to configure it in a software. So we have already installed the system, so we're going to configure it in that. So first we will add the required number of disks. So we want to configure in how many disks, we will do it that. Now the next thing what we will do is to create partitions in those disks to use them. So we'll do what? We will create the partitions to use them. So for using the hard disk in a RAID, we are not able to use the disk directly because we are using it in software way. So what we'll do, we will create the partitions to use them. Now remember, when you create the partitions, there is a drawback in the RAID. It supports the single size of all disk. That means it supports the same type of the disk. Like if you are using the SATA, so all the disks should be SATA, not IDE, not the other type, not the SSD, and also it supports the size of the partitions or the disk equal. That means if you are using the one disk as 1 TB, so second disk you cannot use 2 TB. Your all disk must be same size. If you use one disk 1 TB and other disk 2 TB, then from the other disk you cannot use the other TB. You can use only 1 TB for the RAID partition. So for creating the RAID partition, you need the all partitions equal size. That means all disk equal size. Now we are not using the whole disk, we are using what? The partitions. So our partitions must be the same size. So we create the partitions, we create partitions in those disks to use them, or I will say create equal size partitions. Equal size partitions in those to use them. Then creating the partition, then what we will do, we will convert the partitions to Linux red type. Remember, when we create a partition in the Linux, it creates normal Linux partition. But we want that partition to be used in a red, so we have to convert the type into Linux red. So it is a type there in the red, and the ID is what? With the ID FB. The ID for the Linux red is FB. So we know that when we create the partition, it will be number 83, ID will be 83. So the ID will be 83. So what we have to do, we will convert the ID into FB so that it will become Linux red partition. Now after creating the partitions, whatever the required partition we have, then what we will do, we will create red volume. Now red volume, now depend on the requirement, I can select the level. Red volume of required level. By using these partitions, or I can say by combining those partitions or using those partitions. So the red level, the red volume name will be Dave_MD0. This will be the name for our red volume. Now it is the standard name, so MD will be the standard and 0 is for the first volume, and if you want to create multiple volume, then the next volume will be red 1, red 0, red 1, red 2, red 3, whatever. Now after creating it, now this red volume will work like a normal partition. Like you can use this red volume as a normal partition. Now what we do with the normal partition, we can do with this also. Now what we do with the normal partition, we do create the file system. Then after this, create file system. Create file system in this red volume, that is /Dave MD0. Now we know that after creating the file system, what we do, we mount red volume on a directory to use it. And finally what we do, make it persistent mount, or we can say permanent mount, by adding the entry, by adding entry in etc fstab file. Then finally what we do, we will verify the etc fstab file configuration without restart. Remember, do it without restart. And this is the process. So this is the process which we will follow to do configure and use the RAID volume. Now first I will do what? I will create. Now I will go with this all steps and I will show. So now what I will do, I will create the partitions first. Now how many disks I have here? I have two disks, SDA and SDB. Now I can configure it in a single disk. Remember, I have one disk only and I can configure it in this single disk, or I can configure, and basically you should configure it in separate disk, not a single disk. If you configure it in a single disk, you lose a disk, you lose a data, everything you will lose. So what I'm going to do now, I have this one disk, I will connect the other disk to use. So what I will do, it is my virtual machine, so I will connect it by going into the setting. So add and the disk, next, next. This one is 60 GB, so I'm going to add this one as also 60 GB. Next, this is my disk 2. So we have two disks now. Now I will add one more disk, two disk extra. We have one disk which is system, which is using by the system, and extra I have two disks now. Now I will add one more disk, three disks. So 1, 2, 3 we have now. Now I will add one more, 4. $60 GB. Disk 4. So I added 4 disk here extra, and if I check, it is not showing, so I have to reboot it. We do by the process, the first step is to add the disk which we have already added. Now we have to create the partitions on those disks so that we can use them to create the RAID volume. So for creating the partitions, what we will do, we will create with the fdisk command. We know that for creating the partition what command we use. So now fdisk -l. So now we are having these partitions, these disks, which is SDB, SDC, SDD and SDE. So now what I will do, I will create first in SDB, new, primary 1, default. Now I'm using only 1 GB from it. It is a 60 GB, but I'm using only 1 GB. Now when I create this partition, you can see it is the Linux 83 type. So I will change the type by T, and we can see the code, and the code for the Linux RAID is what? FD. You can see here FD. So I want this FD. So I will give FD code, enter. So now I have a partition in this which is Linux RAID. Partition number name is what? SDB1. Save, exit. Now it is not giving me any error because this hard disk does not have any other partition which is used. So it is updated automatically. We don't have to run the part probe in it. If it is giving you error, then you will run the part probe. Now I will create another disk, another partition in SDC with the same process, new plus 1 GB, and the type will be FD. So this is also done. Now I will create in SDD. So new new plus 1 GB, and the type will be FD. It is also done. Save and exit. Now we have one more disk, E. I'm using 4 disks. So new plus 1 GB, and the type will be FD, and save. So I created 4 partitions from 4 disks: SDB1, SDC1, SDD1, and SDE1. Now I'm going to use these to create a partition, create a RAID. Now for creating the RAID and managing the RAID, the command is md admin. So this command is to use and to create and manage the RAID. So we want to create a RAID by using those 4 different hard disk, 4 different partitions. Remember, the partition size was same, 1 GB. Now to create, we have a command C. Now what we want to create? We want to create dev md0. This is our first RAID partition. So this is our first RAID partition, md0. Now let me do this. I will give the full minus create. I will use the full option so that you can understand what I am doing. So I am saying create dev md0. So this is what I want to create. Now I can decide the level. So minus level is equal to. Now here you can decide the level, whatever the level you want. Level you want 1, level you want 0, level you want 5. It depends on you, like what level you want. So I have created 4 disks. So I'm going to use level 5, which is very useful for me. So 5 to use. Now in those 5, RAID level 5, what we want, minimum we want 3 disks, and we have 4. So I will say first I will say how many RAID volumes I want. So I will say minus RAID minus devices. So RAID devices I need 3. That is what the minimum of devices we need for level 5. Now I remain with one drive, one partition. Now why I created that one is for using it as a spare disk. Now remember, for RAID level 5 we need 3 minimum disk, which is I'm using it. I'm having one extra disk and I will use it. I'm going to use it as a spare disk. Now what is the use of spare disk? Now spare disk, as you know that if you see in a car you have spare tires. What is the use of that? If any one of the tire, your vehicle, your tire goes out, then you can use that without going into the garage. So that is the same thing here. So if these 3 disks will be active in a RAID level 5, which is the minimum requirement, and the one disk will remain in a spare, and if any of the disk goes corrupt with this active disk, then automatically that spare disk will take place on those disks. That means we don't have to add it manually. If you don't have a spare disk, then what happen? You have to add that manually. Like if you lose one disk, your RAID will be on the risk until you change the corrupt disk with the normal disk. And if you are having a spare disk, then automatically it will take place that faulty disk, and then you can change whenever you saw it. And if suppose you are not having a spare disk and you corrupt one disk and you did not saw that, and it is keep running it like this, and then suddenly your second disk also corrupt, then you lose the data. So for not putting it on a risk, we can have a spare disk. So because I have disk, so I will use it as a spare disk. So I say spare device is equal to 1. Now after mentioning all this, now what? I will mention those partitions name which we want to use it as a red. So first partition is red SDB1. So now what? I am going to create this. We have decided the level. So now I will mention the names of those partitions which I created. So the first partition is SDB1, then Dev SDC1, then Dev SDD1, then Dev SDE1. Now remember, I mentioned 3 for the red and 1 for spare. So the first 3 names like SDB, SDC and then SDD, these 3 will be used as a active disk, and the last one which I mentioned here, the SDE, that will go as a spare. So whatever the disk you want to put it on a spare, you will put it on the last. Put the name on the last line. Put the name on last. So it will go as a spare. And if you don't give a spare, then you have to see the red manually and change it manually. Now I am going to put enter. And now what it is saying? It is saying that array of this red is started. Now what? If you want to check whether it is working or not, you can run mdadm command --detail, and then which detail you want to see. So you want to see the detail about this red volume. So you will mention dev md0, and this is the detail you have. So what you got here is the name of the partition, the version of the red, the date and time of the creation, what level you have created. You have created red level 5. The array size you are getting is what? 2 GB, because we are using 3 disk of 1 GB, and one is going for the spare and one is going for the parity. So we are getting the total size of 2 GB to use, and the used device size is what? 1 GB. So all the devices are of one size, that is 1 GB. Now the active devices are what? 3, but total we have 4 devices. Now update time is this, like last time it is updated on this, and now it is state is clean because all the disks are working. So 3 is active, working is 4, and 1 is as a spare disk. And what we have here, you can see the SDB, C and D1 is working as a active disk, and this SDE1 which I named last is now working as a spare. So benefit of this spare disk is what? If any of this active disk goes down, automatically this disk will take place of that faulty disk. Now if you don't have any spare disk, still it will work. What happen if you lose one disk? So the disk will go here and it will show as a faulty disk, and still but 2 disk is running. If the 2 disk is running, then it will still show you that your red is working, but here it will say faulty. It is not clean. That means anytime if you lose one more disk, you can lose the data. So you have to do what? Then you have to remove that disk, faulty disk, and then you have to add the new disk for your red. Now that you will do when you see, when you check your disk, when you check the red. But if you don't check and the second disk corrupt, then you lose the data. But when you have a spare disk, then without checking, you don't have to check it every time. When you lose the one disk, it will go and take place of that disk, and the corrupt disk will go here as a faulty disk. So when you see this, you can remove the faulty disk and add the new disk, and that will be added as a spare. But your red will always working as a clean. So you get some extra time. It is like you are getting some extra time to recover your red. Now it is running and working. Now we can use this red volume, and the red volume is what? This MD0. Now the next step is to do what? The same. If you want to use it, you have to make the file system. So mkfs dot I'm making xfs file system on what? So dev md0. Now the file system is created. Now I will do what? I will create one directory to use, R5. Now I will mount it md0 on this R5, and this is what we can get check by df-h, and here you can see the size which is we are having is what? 2 GB. Now this is not permanent, so we can make it permanent. Now this is also simple. blkid, first you get blkid, and what is the ID? So you can see the partition, you can see the ID. Copy, open the file etc fs tab, and then make an entry here. Just like we make an entry for the normal partition. R5 file system is also xfs, then default, and 0, that is same as normal partition, and then save it. Now don't restart, just check it without restarting. For that, first do unmount md0 and then do the command mount -a, and it is not giving any error, and it is mounting the partition. It is mounting the partition properly, not without any error. That means we did the right configuration in fsstep file. And this is the process, and this is how we use the RAID partition. So this is the process to create and add the RAID partition. Now to manage the RAID partition, like if it is get corrupt, so how we can change it and how we can replace it with the proper disk, that thing we will see next time. So this is the way we configure the managing of the RAID. We will see next time.